In this lesson, we're going to discuss the different sub-object modes of our geometry inside of 3ds Max. So the first thing that we want to do is go ahead and create a piece of geometry inside of our scene. So let's go ahead and go to our box and create one. So let's hold down our left mouse button and drag out the base of our box. Once we're happy with that base, we'll release our left mouse button and we'll drag up our height. And once we have a result that we like, we'll go ahead and click our left mouse button one more time to finalize that box. Now we want to go ahead and right click one time to end this box creation process, so that way we don't create any new boxes. Alright, so the first thing that we need to do is go to our modify panel here, and I just want you to see that this is still a box. Okay? We're unable to access any sub-object modes of this geometry because we need to convert this object to an editable piece of geometry. Now to do that, we're going to right click on our object and we're going to go to convert to, and we're going to use editable poly in this case. You could go ahead and convert it over to an editable mesh, but we want to be able to access all the different tools that editable poly has available. Okay, so once we've converted that over, you'll notice that we have editable poly in what's called our modifier stack here. And if we hit the plus sign on this editable poly, you can see that we can access the different sub-object modes of this geometry. Now you'll also notice that we have a selection rollout in our panels here, and we have vertex, edge, border, polygon, and element. So we can select them here, or we can select them here as well. Okay? So let's go ahead and discuss the three major sub-object modes of editable poly geometry. So let's go to vertex mode. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually come down here to the bottom right hand corner of our screen, and we're going to go to maximize viewports just so we can see this a little bit easier. So if you didn't see that, it's right down here. And if we hit that one more time, that'll take us back to our quad view, and we'll hit it again to go to maximum view. Okay, so now once we have vertex mode selected, what we can do is go ahead and access the different points or vertices on our geometry. Let me change the color of this box so we can see these vertices just a little bit easier. So I'm just going to click on this color swatch, and we'll choose a lighter color. Let's do something, maybe a red color. So that way it's a little bit easier to see these blue dots. Now, these vertices are single points of our geometry, and we can actually move these single points around. So if we grab our move tool, let's just drag this up, and you'll see how this is affecting our geometry. So we're moving this single point. So we're making a very small edit to this piece of geometry. Now let's go ahead and move to our next sub-object mode, and this is called edge mode. Now before I do this, I want to be able to see my edges on my geometry. So if I click on realistic here, it'll bring up a menu, and we can actually turn on edge faces. So now we can see these edges and how this geometry is actually made. So let's go ahead and go to edge mode, and now we can select these edges, and if we move this edge, you'll notice that it's moving these two vertices on the corners. So we're actually making an edit that is a little bit larger than vertex mode. So we're moving more of this geometry around. Okay? Now an edge is made up of at least two vertices. Okay, so we have a vertex on this corner, and we have a vertex on this corner. So I want you to know how each sub-object mode is going to make the rest of your sub-object modes behave. Okay, so let's go to our next most important sub-object mode, and this is called polygon. Now you might wonder what border is and what element is, but I really just want to discuss these three majors just to get you started inside of 3ds Max. Okay, so let's go ahead and discuss polygon mode. And a polygon is a single surface on our piece of geometry, a single face on our geometry. And you'll notice that with this polygon selected, and we move this polygon, you'll notice that this is making a much larger edit here. So if we move this polygon around, we're actually moving these 4 edges around as well. So just be conscious of how some of your edits in the different sub-object modes are really going to affect your geometry. Okay, so what we've done in this lesson is we've discussed the different sub-object modes of our geometry of editable poly, and in the next lesson we're going to actually discuss how we can start to create the masses of a model by using the Extrude Polygons tool inside of our editable poly tools themselves. So we'll do that in the next lesson.